Hey folks, Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and we got an update, or sort of, I didn't even know there was something going to happen with this, but WizKids put out a statement earlier today regarding licensing and new products going forward. We've seen a lot of funky stuff going on with Wizards of the Coast and their licensing recently. We saw the Gale Force 9 issues, we saw the Dragonlance issues, but now that WizKids, as far as I knew, was one that was always kind of in the clear, but it looks like they've increased sort of what they're allowed to produce for both Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering. So let's go ahead and take a look through the article ourselves and talk about what we think it is. So this is this morning, right? February 24th. WizKids, the premier manufacturer of premium pre-painted miniatures and tabletop games, announced its vast product lines for both the highly popular role-playing game D&D and the strategy card game Magic the Gathering. The new products are slated to hit shelves beginning in 2021, and I have some theories, so we'll get back to that. Fans and players of the popular franchises can now grow their arsenal of game accessories and lifestyle products to show their affinity for their beloved brands with the arrival of new and in-demand product lines. Debut product categories include action figures, prop replicas, apparel, and even game accessories such as maps, battle mats, bags, carrying cases, and more. Quote, as players and fans of these two popular games, we are thrilled to be creating dynamic products that will enhance the play experience for enthusiasts of these long-term admired franchises, end quote, said Justin Zirin, president at WizKids. WizKids also offered branded high-quality paints, will also offer branded high-quality paints and paint supplies as a companion to its widely successful Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures line, designed for all levels of painting experience. Additionally, WizKids is adding high-quality unpainted sprue miniatures for intermediate and veteran miniature painters. We are very excited to expand our strategic partnership with WizKids to encompass both D&D and Magic. By increasing the variety of products available in key categories, we will further enhance our fans' experience around the gaming table and offer new collectibles and lifestyle products that allow them to show off their fandom with friends and family, said Ann Earp, Director of Licensing at Wizards of the Coast. The product quality of WizKids and their ability to tap into what fans are really looking for has grown our businesses exponentially for D&D, and we look forward to bringing that same success to Magic the Gathering and products and accessories. Expanded categories include D&D Spur Miniatures, premium, unpainted, high impact polystyrene, unassembled, unprimed miniatures on sprue. I don't know what sprue is. We're going to look that up in a second here. D&D action figures, D&D paint line, D&D and Magic the Gathering artifacts and prop replicas, D&D accessories, battle maps, bags, and carrying cases. These new product categories will join the previously announced Papercraft and 2D miniatures line. Visit WizKids for more information in the coming weeks. So let's look up what sprue miniatures are, because I have no idea what that is. Oh, okay. So it's these guys, where you kind of like, they come in the prepackaged and you cut them out and you assemble them together. Okay, so now we know what that is. Sorry, internet, if you thought I knew what that was. I just had never heard that term before. Okay, so let's dive into what we think this means. So D&D action figures. Now, see, that is extremely interesting to me because WizKids is, in that aspect, a direct competitor to Hasbro. Hasbro, a toy and action figure company that owns Wizards of the Coast. So I know they recently started doing D&D action figures. They released that really cool Drizzt action figure, which I don't have in arm's reach, but it's a really nice, high-quality action figure. And it's of Drizzt and Guinevere, and it's really awesome. That comes from Hasbro. If they're going to now allow WizKids to make action figures, is that not direct competition? I mean, maybe that's a good thing for everybody involved, where more competition can mean better products and things like that. So that's what I'm going to expect we're going to see is probably starting. We have miniatures, right? So we have to, I guess, make the distinguishment. You have to distinguish between action figures and miniatures. So miniatures usually are not articulate. They are single pose, and they're for battle, for dealing with D&D or whatever. Action figures have to more than likely have points of articulation. They're movable, swappable hands, heads, arms, parts, and so on. My guess is we'll probably see the iconic characters appear in form of action figures, right? Possibly Drizzt and the Companions of the Hall, I don't know, possibly, you know, things like a Sararak or Minsk or, you know, any of the Baldur's, maybe the Baldur's Gate characters, right? That could be a thing, right? You tie that into the Baldur's Gate 3 release or Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. Yeah, again, I don't know what we're going to see, but that's interesting. So the Spur Miniatures, I have a ton of unpainted minis. I have Sprue Miniatures. That doesn't really appeal to me. Although I say that now, and they might release something that just blows my mind that I have to have. So who knows? A D&D paint line. Well, they kind of already have had that, sort of. We've seen that they've released the Nulzer's kind of paint kit, the starter paint kit, and they did kind of at the game shops, like the paint night sets. So I guess this will just be a higher version, maybe branded version. We've seen a ton of D&D paint lines or miniature paint lines from a variety of different groups, right? From Citadel and Vallejo and all these other ones. So I guess WizKids is going to step up. I don't know what is involved with that. In my mind, there's a lot of great companies out there, but if you're going to continue to market high quality unpainted minis for what we now know to be Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, and then we've seen Magic the Gathering unpainted minis as well. I actually have a box of those that I just never got around to reviewing. But if that's the case, and you can market, you know, especially if you're not someone who's super in-depth into painting and you're not going to go looking for the different varieties of different paints from different companies, and like, hey, I know I bought these WizKids minis, I'll go buy the WizKids paints. And that is a pretty reasonable train of thought that probably a lot of people will follow, especially newer folks to mini painting. D&D and Magic the Gathering artifacts and prop replicas. Now, this one has my interest because, if you don't know, WizKids were the ones who released the red and black dragon heads, the wall-mounted, like, wall hanger dragon heads, as well as the Mind Flayer and the Beholder. Now, I thought there was rumors of a green dragon head coming out, and then I just saw it disappear and then never show up. And I wonder if there was a licensing thing or it just was put on the back burner because it wasn't thought to be a good idea. But also Magic the Gathering. So we've seen the Hand and Eye of Vecna, right? That was a WizKids thing where it's just like under a bell jar dome and it's the Hand and Eye of Vecna. And from what I've seen, people love that. And I'm probably going to get one myself at some point. So more things like that, right? I happen to have a broken Orcus mini here, but you can see he's got the Wand of Orcus. The Wand of Orcus, right? That might be a cool thing. Maybe we'll start to see, and I'm going to give you this one, WizKids. This one's free. Do yourself a favor. Start looking into D&D Magic items. You have the license, so you can produce things that are standard, you know, like, and then go for the jewelry, right? I think this could be a big hit. Like, it's a periapt of poison or whatever it is, or you know, wound closure, periaptive wound closure, or a necklace of prayer beads, or a brooch of shielding. All of these kinds of, like, they're jewelry, but they're also a prop that has reference in game. I think that those, in my mind, would do well. Do a holy symbol. This is a big one, I'm telling you right now. A holy symbol on, like, a necklace, and do them for the different Faerunian gods, right? Here's a symbol of Ilmater. Here's a symbol of Tymora, of Mieliki. You make a line of prop holy symbols, and you will, I guarantee those will sell. And I bet they'll do very well because you have a lot of people that like playing clerics and paladins, or people that are just playing devout characters in game, and they would love to have a reference and, like, have that holy symbol. I know I would, right? This is a paladin shirt. I would 100% buy holy symbol replicas for any mini or for any character that I have that has any kind of connection to the divine. So take that and go with it, because I'm telling you it'll make money. Prop replicas, right? We saw the pairing with Spirit Halloween to do the Drizzt swords and, you know, Tal'Maril the Heartseeker. I don't know if you know this, but GameStop also has a set of high quality versions of Drizzt scimitars, right? Twinkle and Icing Death. These ones come with scabbards, and they come with, like, a wall mount. I wouldn't be surprised if we could see that. I'm also going to tell you that replica weapons of the iconic D&D weapons will do well, right? A Dwarven Thrower, a Holy Avenger longsword, all of these kinds of things. Aegis Fang, or Wolfgar's weapon, Brunner's many-notched axe, a dagger, a venom, all these kinds of things that are like iconic items that are in and of themselves in some way. If you could find a convincing way to do a flame tongue, that would do well. People would buy these. These would be wall hangers. People would take them and use them for cosplay at conventions. I'm not really knowledgeable about Magic the Gathering, so I can't really speak to what prop replicas and artifacts from Magic the Gathering would look like. Right, I know Black Lotus, that you could make one. That would be a thing you could do. And then D&D accessories, battle mats, maps, bags, and carrying cases. So, all right, battle mats. I mean, anybody can do that. That's pretty standard. You could do this on a vinyl roll or whatever. If you have the D&D license, so you could make a Waterdeep battle mat. You could make for a variety of the different. I know Gale Force 9 had done some in the past, but you could take any of the pre-written campaigns and have a battle map. All right. It says battle mats and then maps. So this, I think the differentiation there is a battle mat is probably supposed to be wet or dry erase, and you're supposed to put your minis on it. The maps, I'm hoping, are like high quality wall maps. Like I could get a map of the Sword Coast. I could get a map of Waterdeep. Something that might be a little bit higher quality that almost looks, maybe it's printed on like a vellum or some sort of linen. Something that's like an actual map that I might have in game. Like if my character has like, oh, I have a map of the Sword Coast. And then like, hey, that's a cool prop that I can have at the table when we're playing the game. It also makes a cool thing to frame and hang on the wall. If you're not thinking about it in that aspect, that one's free too, because that would sell. If I could have a high quality rolled up version of a map that looks like what my character would have in game, that'd be cool. People would love to have that and show up at the table, assuming we can show up at tables again with that. Bags. I don't know if this means like a messenger bag, which again, people would buy an official branded D&D bag of holding, right? We all have Think Geek bags of holding from years ago. If you can make an official branded one, people will likely buy that. And then carry cases. So what I assume that would also be for is we have a ton of minis from WizKids. Maybe they're going to make a proprietary carry case for bringing your minis to and from conventions and things like that, maybe for carrying a variety of different stuff. That could be well done. Again, you could combine the artifact prop replica with a bag, and again, make a bag of devouring, make a bag of holding, a Heward's Handy Haversack. People would buy those, right? You could give me a Heward's Handy Haversack that functions like a good backpack and is now branded with D&D, and I'm a sucker who's going to buy it, right? That's me. That's who I am. I'm a collector of props and replicas and figurines, and I'm a stereotypical nerd, and I love Dungeons & Dragons. You slap that label on it, and it looks like something I'm going to have in game, I'm going to buy it. This is very bad for me in my wallet, but it will be very good for WizKids and their wallet. Also, it does continue to mention in there the D&D 2D miniature line. I know a lot of people were questioning. I did a review on those, and there were some issues with the sort of the material where the tape was peeling off the paint of the 2D minis. They're still listed as released, and they're referenced here again, so I got to imagine those are coming out. But yeah, that was it. You guys like when I cover D&D news? This is some exciting news, at least for me. Especially as I'm in the process of building my new studio and I need cool stuff to put on the walls and hang around in the background. Wall hangers, artifacts, and so on are exactly what I need. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Maybe you thought of something that I missed, and if you're a Magic the Gathering expert, let me know in the comments what you think could be a cool thing Magic the Gathering-wise to show up as part of an artifact or a prop replica. And yeah, I'm just curious, what do you think is going to come out? What are you most excited? What do you hope comes out? I don't know if WizKids watches all these videos, but they might. So sound off in the comments with what you'd like to see. And maybe if something does really well, this might help birth that into reality. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.